As a law officer in Denver, I've had some mighty strange assignments. But this was something new for me and my partner, George Romack. Our job was to be bodyguard for a poet.
Hey, you're early, gents.
We wouldn't want to miss the royal welcome by the good ladies of Denver.
Wow, looks like a regular 4th of July celebration. Isn't it wonderful, Tom? Almost every seat in the house sold out.
Well, it's for a worthy cause. Don't you want to buy a ticket, Mac? Only costs $100.
What? Me pay $100 just to hear some English dude spout poetry? No, sirree. Now, if he was bringing in some dancing girls, that's in...
Look! Here comes Lord Hillary. Lord Hillary's here.
Something wrong here, George.
It's empty. No driver.
Here's the driver, Mac. He's dead. Nothing on the coach gave us any clue to the murder. George and I started backtracking to see if we could find the missing Lord Hillary. Looks like the driver's gun, George.
Too many tracks. Can't make heads or tails out of them.
Sorry to disturb you, chaps. You hurt? Oh, I'm all right, thank you. There's been a bit of unpleasantness.
Yes, I know. I'm Tom Smith, Denver Police. This is my partner, George Romack.
I'm Alfred Hillary. Oh, so you're two bobbies, eh?
No, just plain lawmen. We're supposed to welcome you to Denver.
Oh, no, thank you. I've already had my welcome. And if this be your welcome, I prefer your snubs.
I can assure you this is not the usual welcome. You mind telling us what happened?
Well, yes, as we drove along, a masked gentleman requested the driver to stop, and since he was carrying a revolver, it seemed advisable to oblige him. And then, like a silly ass, I got out of the coach to take a look, and he either hit me on the head with the butt of his revolver, or one of your mountains fell on me.
How long were you out?
Well, long enough for the highwayman to take my wallet and depart. I can't give you the exact time because, you see, he also took my watch.
Can you give us a description?
Yes, he was tall and dressed in black and wore a mask. And by the time I'd regained consciousness, he was gone and so was my coach.
So then you hightailed it over here, huh?
Hightailed is hardly the word. I dragged myself to shelter.
Do you feel like riding into Denver?
The worse the passage, the more welcome the port. Do you think it would be possible to get a spot of brandy in Denver?
Something equally reviving.
Then I can make it to Denver. Will Summers be waiting for me there?
Who's Summers?
My valet. I assume that he and the driver escaped in the coach.
Well, the driver got there all right, in time for his funeral.
Dead?
Shot through the head.
What about Summers?
Well, he wasn't in the coach.
Oh, no, I remember now. When I got out of the coach, he opened the other door. He might have made a run for it.
We better look for him. Take a look at him, George.
Poor chap, his troubles are now over.
Shot through the chest, but he's still alive, Smitty.
You stay with him, George. Lord Hillary and I'll ride into town. I'll send Doc Henderson out with a buckboard. You're not in too good a shape yourself, your lordship. That honk on the noggin, we better get you to a doctor.
How is he?
Well, I don't know. Doc got the bullet out, though. He's got him in the back room. Lord Hillary, this is Sarah, Doc's niece. She'll be taking care of Summers.
Charmed, I'm sure. But don't you think that I ought to stay with him? After all, noblesse oblige, you know.
I think it's just a slight case of shock.
I'm sure there's nothing you can do, Lord Hillary. Sarah's a good nurse. She'll look after him.
I'll let you know as soon as he comes to.
George, Chief wants you to handle the investigation. He's assigned 2 men to work with you.
Well, ain't you coming with me, Smitty?
No, he gave me strict orders to chaperone his lordship. Make sure he doesn't get hurt again.
Wasn't something said a short while ago about a spot of brandy?
Oh, yes. The nearest oasis is no further than yon street corner.
Boys, I'd like to propose a little toast to Lord Hillary and the success of our benefit show. Yeah. What's the matter, Carruthers? Fly in your drink?
Whiskey's all right, but I'm not drinking a toast to any Englishman.
But you're an Englishman yourself, aren't you?
I'm an American citizen now, and I have no use for a perfume freak like Lord Hillary.
Well, of all things.
You better keep it down, boys. Looks like we got company.
Well. Howdy, gentlemen.
Jeffers, Lord Alfred Hillary. Sam Jeffers, best editor west of the Mississippi.
Every able editor is a ruler of the world.
And this is Whitey Bass, the best prospector, at least when it comes to locating free drinks. And this is Matt, our stage line manager.
Yeah, howdy, Your Majesty.
Right this way, Your Lordship. And this is Mr. Carruthers, one of our newest citizens.
Oh, fee-fi-fo-fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. What ails the chap?
I don't know.
Oh, never mind him, Your Lordship. How about a drink?
Well, an excellent idea. I say, bartender, may I have a spot of the grape?
Grape? Mister, you're in the wrong place. This here ain't no fruit stand.
I think he means brandy, Jack.
Brandy? All I got is red eye.
Ah, an American drink. That sounds jolly.
Say when, partner. You'd better say when pretty quick, or you're apt to get too jolly.
There you go. The cup that cheers. A little on the mild side.
Mild side? Why, I use that whiskey to clean my printing presses with. Allow me.
Oh, no. This is my treat. That is, if the bartender will allow me to write a bank draft on my New York branch. You see, a gentleman with a gun helped me mislay my wallet.
Sure, Your Honor. How much?
$1,000 should be enough.
$1,000?
Oh, anything you like, Your Lordship. Do you have enough to cover that, Jack?
Well, yeah, but it just about cleaned me out. Here you are.
Go.
Sure beats me. Well, I'd have been a poet myself if I'd have known there's so much money in it.
Excuse me, boys. I reckon I ought to introduce myself to his lordship.
Just wanted to say hello, your lordship. Lou Dawson's the name.
Oh, are you a resident of Denver too, Mr. Dawson?
I sure am.
Well, he won't be if I ever catch him with an ace up his sleeve.
Yeah. Well, speaking of aces, your lordship, we have a little card game going on this afternoon.
Cards? You mean whist, I presume.
Well, no, not exactly. It's more like stud poker. You care to sit in?
Delighted. I'm very fond of your quaint American pastimes.
I don't think you'd be too fond of this one.
Oh, come on, Smith. Let him have a little fun. After all, it's just a friendly game. Right over here, your lordship. Boys at my table can't hardly wait to meet you. Boys, this is Lord Hillary.
Delighted, gentlemen.
Now, I'm the banker, your lordship.
Oh.
You can buy your chips from me.
How much are they?
This should be enough to get you started. Now, you can deal. You know the rules.
Not too well. You'll have to advise me as we go along.
I'm sure they'll be happy to do that. I'll pick you up in about an hour. I couldn't bear to watch my English lamb being fleeced by the Denver wolves. So I decided to spend the time searching through the records to see if I could get a lead on the holdup man.
$2,400, American money. This is fun. I don't know when I've enjoyed an hour so much.
Well, I didn't. Seems to me you caught on powerful fast for a greenhorn.
I'm very quick. And now, if you'll be good enough to pay me what you owe me.
I'll pay you all right.
I told you I was quick.
That was plumb purty, Your Majesty.
Well, I'm glad if I entertained you.
Hey, what happened here?
By George, Tom, you should have been here to see the fracas. Yes, sir, and I've changed my mind about buying a ticket to that benefit. Because if His Majesty can spout poetry the way he can fight, my tinkies, I want to be there.
Well, my verse was not designed for the masses, but there may be moments that will amuse you.
Yeah.
I'm glad some good came of this. I'm sorry for the trouble, your lordship.
Oh, there's no trouble at all. And now I wonder if I might go back to the hotel and clean up and change my clothes. I would like to appear at my best at the benefit tonight.
By all means.
And now I'd like the money that is rightfully mine. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And when we meet again, we shall smile.
Nothing. I left the boys to see if they could find anything in the hills out there. How's Summers?
He's still out.
You know, Smitty, we could be on the wrong track searching that back country. I bet you our guilty man's right here in Denver.
And who might that be?
It just might be that fella Carruthers.
Makes you say that?
Well, I stopped in a saloon for a beer on the way back here. And he had been in there and had a few, too. And he was flashing a roll big enough to choke a horse.
Yeah, that is strange. He's been knocking around town for about 2 weeks. Doesn't seem to have a job. Where would he get that money?
That's just what I've been wondering. Of course, Hillary lost his wallet this morning. Must have been carrying quite a bundle.
Where's Carruthers?
He lit out kind of sudden-like, after saying something about him coming out here to get away from Englishmen.
But I don't understand. Why would anyone harm Summers? He was just a poor old man.
But he was an Englishman, your lordship.
What does that mean?
Well, nothing to me or many others for that matter, but to some it might make a difference.
You're joking.
Oh, murder's no joke, your lordship.
No, I suppose not.
May I offer my condolences, your lordship? I hope you won't hold this tragedy against the good people of Denver.
No man is responsible. Fate chooses who she will. But I shall miss poor old Summers.
Was he with you long?
Almost 7 years. He was a devoted servant, too. He could quote every line I ever wrote. Well, man was born to die.
I'm sorry, Your Lordship, but I think we better get over to the Opera House. There's a big crowd waiting for the performance to begin.
As I suppose so. What does the shoe American say? The show must go on.
You joining us, Tom?
Later.
You better follow them, George.
Oh, but Lord Hillary will be all right on the stage at the Opera House, Smitty. I'd like to find that fella Carruthers.
George, I think you're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, let me climb that tree, Smitty, and we'll find out.
All right. But you meet me backstage at the Opera House in 30 minutes.
Good, thanks.
Find what you're looking for? Just raise your hand.
Where's that wallet?
What wallet?
Lord Hillary's. You held up his coach this morning.
Wait a moment. Are you accusing me of...
Listen, a man at the stable told me you rented a horse this morning at sunup. You've been gone all day.
Well, it's no crime to rent a horse. I had business in Leadville.
All right, what about that money? There's nearly $3,000 there, yet you were broke yesterday.
Well, I received a draft to the Bank of Leadville from London. I'm a remittance man, Mr. Romack.
A remittance man? What's that?
Well, it's not something to be proud of. A remittance man is a chap whose high-born father is so ashamed of him that he sends him money to stay out of the country. Well, you can check my story.
Well, I guess so. Still, if your story's true, then who killed Summers?
Our days shall pass, and we descend to wonder, hearing the voice of night's eternal, silent thunder. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kindly acceptance of my poor verses. I shall carry with me many memories of the generosity of the people of Denver. And now, for my concluding recitation, I shall give one written by the greatest poet of all time, Shakespeare. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages.
Congratulations, Your Highness. That was a mighty fine show. Yes, sir, mighty fine.
You enjoyed my little verses?
Enjoyed them. I was plumb loco about them. Especially that piece by that fellow, what's his name, Shakespeare.
As you like it.
You're darn tootin' I like it.
There you are, Your Lordship. All ready for delivery to Leadville.
I'll carry that for you.
Well, you needn't have bothered.
No bother at all. Say, this is heavy.
It should be. $23,000 for the widows and orphans of that mine tragedy.
I'll have to make sure it gets to them safely.
Well, there's no problem there. I'm taking it myself tonight in my own coach. I've already hired a driver. Coach should be here by now.
I've taken the liberty of making a slight change in your plans.
Change?
Yes, I felt that you should be guarded by one of Denver's finest. Here he comes now. Mr. Romack will see that you get safely to Leadville.
Well, you really shouldn't have gone to all that trouble.
Oh, it's no trouble. After all, you're a guest of the city of Denver. I aim to see you get just the kind of treatment you deserve. Have a nice trip, Your Lordship.
Thank you. Farewell.
See if there's some way to get down there. He's dead, George. Neck's broken.
Pretty clever scheme, ain't it? Killing the driver, then Lord Hillary, so he could take his place. Try to get away with the money, too. When'd you first suspect him, Smitty?
Back at the police station. I got the feeling he wasn't too upset about losing his faithful servant. Another thing, take a look at his shoes, George. Real Lord Hillary's shoes must have started hurting him, so he put on a pair of his own.
Yeah, but after you guessed all this about him, how come you let him go on with his performance?
I want to let him tip his hand for sure. Besides, how else are we going to get the money for those widows and orphans? What do you say we go to Leadville?
Now, wait a minute, Smitty. Seems to me there's something illegal in what we're doing.
Well, maybe a little, but everyone enjoyed themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, they sure did. Even old Mac. All right, Smitty, Leadville it is.
Changes, Mr. Pender?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the house is pretty hot tonight.
Don't count the money, Ben. Just pour the drinks. You're not giving any credit to Philo Blanche, are you?
No, he's good.
When he runs out of money, shut him off.
All right, Mr. Pender. I hope you gentlemen will not deem it immodest of me if I boast of my sheer legerdemain in converting a set of cold, dry Blackstone into this warm, golden liquid. In any case, the pawnbroker was modest enough.
I'm getting sick and tired of this waiting. When do we move?
Combination's right. Money's rolling in. Blanche's tying one on. Tonight's the night. Cash on the barrelhead, Mr. Blanche. Sorry.
My word is my bond, Ben. But since you insist,
Look, Mr. Blanche, Gilly Fender'd skin me alive if I give you any more credit.
Tom, my boy, I appeal to you, both of us being minions of the law.
One for the road, Philo?
The long, long road.
Why don't you drink this and then go home?
You think I'm drunk, don't you, Tom?
A little suspicious.
Why, my boy, I've spilled more whiskey than most men ever drink.
It's your life, Philo.
Oblivion, Tom. Sweet oblivion. One more, my friend.
No more.
Ah, the landlord. The Boniface whose face is not so bonny. How did a penny-pinching scut like you ever decide to go into a congenial business like this?
You get your whiskey-soaked hook out of here and stay out.
No man takes a stick to me.
If it wasn't for my feeling for your daughter,
You stay away from Ellen. And if you so much as mention her name again, I'll kill you. Do you hear me, Fender? I'll kill you.
Come on, Philo. We'll take you home.
I don't need any help. Thank you, Tom.
Why do you ride the poor devils so hard, Fender?
it's the only way to handle scum like that.
Sober, that scum you're referring to happens to be the best lawyer in Denver.
The best lawyer in Denver. Tomorrow morning, he won't even remember what happened tonight.
Maybe that's just as well for you. We'll do it.
that you, Dad?
Well, like you said last night, Smitty, maybe Fenner did push Philo a little too far.
Look at the coroner over here, George. Jim, you stick here. Don't let anyone move anything. We'll go over this place later with a fine-tooth comb.
Dad, now, you try to get some of this down.
What I need is some of the hair of the hound that bit me.
From the look of you, I'd say you swallowed the whole kennel. Oh, Dad, you were going along so well for a while. What makes you do it?
I don't know, Ellen. I honestly don't.
Dad, it just has to stop. I can't stand much more.
I swear I'll try again, Ellen. But spare me any preaching.
Yes, that's what you say every time.
I know. It's just that after your mother died, I thought if we left New York, came to a country that was fresh and new, maybe things would change.
It can, Dad. It can. I know it can. Why, there's no end to what you could do if you set your mind to it.
Except to pass a saloon, maybe?
I'll get you something to go with your coffee.
Morning, Philo.
Well, I've seen better. Oh, I left my hat somewhere, eh?
Afraid you did.
How about a cup of coffee?
Where'd you go after you left us last night, Philo?
Was it with you?
That bad, huh?
Got off to an early start yesterday. All I remember is going to the pawnbroker's with a set of law books.
You don't recall quarreling with Fender?
No. Oh, but can't we talk about it somewhere else, eh?
You mind if I take a look around first?
No, go ahead. Will you tell me what this is all about, Tom?
You owed Fender a lot of money.
That's no secret.
Last night you said you'd kill him.
I did? What does he want, a public apology?
He's dead. Murdered. How did you come by Fender's account book?
I just don't know, Tom. How did it happen?
He was beaten to death in his home.
And you found my hat there?
That's right.
How could I do a thing like that and just forget it?
What's the matter, Dad?
Gilly Fender was killed last night. It looks like I did it.
You? Well, you couldn't... Tom, you know Dad isn't capable of such a thing.
The condition I was in last night, I might have done anything.
Sorry, Ellen. Maybe we better go, Philo.
I'll bring you things as soon as I can, Dad.
No, Ellen. Just stay away from me, please. For your own sake.
Why don't you bring me the money?
Changed my mind. I figured it'd be safer here. Besides, the job turned out to be a little bigger than we figured on.
Meaning what?
Meaning now, half ain't enough.
You weren't supposed to kill Fender.
I had to. He seen me, Ben boy.
If you got us in a lot of trouble.
Take it easy. Don't get so edgy. Everything came off slicker than a peeled onion. Why, I saw Smith hauling Philo Blanche down to jail not more than a half an hour ago.
That doesn't mean they're gonna keep him there. Now, you listen to me and listen good. You made this a hanging affair, not me. If you know what's good for you, you'll lay low till they hang Blanche and bury him. In the meantime, why don't you let me hold on to that money until this blows over?
You'd like that, wouldn't you? No, I think I'll keep it here. Tell you what I will do, though, to show you my heart's in the right place. I'll give you a quarter of it. Because I did all the work. You had the idea, of course. But, I wouldn't want you to think that I was dishonest.
Suppose I won't settle for just a quarter.
You got no choice, Ben boy.
Making much of an effort to remember.
Oh, now look here, Tom. You've got a case you can take into court. Why don't you let it rest at that?
I'm not trying to break any records for convictions. I'm just trying to get at the truth. It's hard for me to believe that one man can beat another to death and then not remember it.
Well, maybe that's because you've never been that drunk.
No, I haven't, Philo. But you're a smart man, even when you are drunk. And I keep asking myself why you'd bother to steal that loan book and then not hide it. Doesn't make sense.
Well, that won't bother the prosecutor. You know, I had a chicken-killing dog once. As good a dog as you'd want. But he just couldn't resist killing chickens. That fool dog. He used to bring them home and lay them at my feet. He didn't make much sense either. I appreciate your kindness, Tom. But let the law take its course.
This is a hanging matter. I want to make sure the right man's on the end of that rope.
You want to know something? They'd be doing me a favor. I've walked a thin line between now and whatever comes after this for a long time. I'm not much good to myself or to anyone else. Let the law do what I never had the stomach for.
Now you listen to me. If you're guilty, you're going to get what's coming to you. But if you're innocent, I'm not going to let you commit suicide just because you hate yourself for what you've done to Ellen. I want the right man.
Tom, would I be talking this way if I didn't think you had him?
It was the reverse of the usual case. A prisoner certain of his own guilt, and a police officer who was far from certain.
Get anything out of Philo?
Nope. Complete blank, George.
Well, look, Smitty, it's not your fault if he went and dealt himself a losing hand.
Everyone in Denver knows how he blacks out when he drinks. It'd be an easy enough matter to get this hat away from him.
And plant it next to Fender's body?
Why not?
But that little loan book didn't just up and crawl in Philo's pocket. Besides, nobody hates the old boy that much.
An awful lot of people love money that much. Did you ever get the combination to that safe?
Yeah.
We opened the safe and found nothing but worthless papers. It was then the housekeeper told us Gilly Fender had kept his cash in a desk drawer, but it wasn't there. $8,000 had disappeared. Hello, Philo.
Hello, Tom.
I just saw Ellen.
Huh?
You know, you're a lucky man to have someone who loves you that much.
Oh, now look here, Tom. I know what you're trying to do, but I'm guilty of murder.
No, you're not. You're innocent. You didn't kill Fender. Because if you did, there's a mighty big chunk of evidence missing. Fender's money. Now, you come up with that, and maybe I'll believe you're guilty.
Money? Maybe I spend it.
Be pretty hard to spend $8,000 between midnight and daylight without someone noticing.
Well, then I must have hidden it somewhere.
Ellen and I searched your house from top to bottom. Anyway, why would you have hidden the money and not that loan book?
I just don't know, Tom.
I think I do. Don't you notice around those gambling tables, George? I want to pump that bartender. Philo spent a lot of time with him.
That's for darn sure.
Hello, Ben.
Hey, Mr. Smith. Would you like a drink?
No, thanks. I'm still on duty. Just want to ask you a couple questions.
All right.
Those gambling games back there, they take in quite a bit of money, don't they?
Yeah, I suppose so. Of course, that's not my end of it.
Well, Fender handled the take from that cage there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And you could hardly help noticing the money as it came in.
Well, no, but I never paid much attention to it.
What did Fender do with the money at night?
Took it with him, I guess.
You guess. Well, don't you know? Did he take it with him last night, for instance?
Well, yeah, yes, he did. He took it home in one of those metal boxes, just like he always did.
Who else knows about that box?
Well, the dealers back there, they know about it.
Any of them leave here right after he did?
I didn't notice. I never left the place at all myself. I got mixed up in an all-night poker game.
You often do that?
No, not too often, but I just felt like playing cards last night.
Lucky thing you happened to pick last night, huh, Ben?
What do you mean?
And puts you in the clear on the killing.
What's up?
I think we're on to something. That bartender covered his trail like a squid last night. Made sure he let me know about it.
Well, it couldn't have been him then.
Could have had a partner.
Oh, boy, if he did, he's going to be hard to trace. Those bartenders got more friends than you can shake a stick at.
Yeah. This one would have something that would make him different. Big hunk of cash.
So?
George, easy money has a habit of burning a hole in your pocket if you're not used to it.
Oh, I can vouch for that.
So what do you say we start checking some places where easy money generally shows up? We'd made the rounds and came up with nothing. Until we hit a little Mexican canteen on the south side of town. There, the bartender remembered a man who'd been spending money like water.
Oh, quien sabe? A big hombre with a beard.
The fellow he left here with, can you describe him?
He's here for un momento nomás. I no look too close.
Surely he must remember something.
Oh, he's a man, another Grjngo. A mí no me importa.
You interrupted my drinking, Ben, boy. Just when I was beginning to make time with that senorita. You better have a pretty good reason.
Has got a good reason. The Detective Smith was around asking a lot of questions. I think he's suspicious of me.
I ain't that tough. Big smart fellow like you provides himself with a big alibi and all. Me, I just went about my business and nobody paid any attention to me at all.
If you don't seem to understand, we're in this thing together. If they pin it on one of us, they'll get us both. And those detectives are out right now looking for somebody.
You're afraid of your own shadow. They got the goods on old Blanche, ain't they? Now, I'm going back to that canteen.
You gotta stay hid out. If they find you drunk and spending money like water, they'll pin it on you sure as shooting and we'll both hang.
Now you make me sick. I'm sorry I got mixed up with a blubbering old woman like you.
Hey, you got to stay here!
Up a tip from the girl in the cantina. It seems she'd formed a special friendship with the man in question, and we headed for his shack just outside of town.
Somewhere before.
Not a good he's going to do us now.
Not so sure about that. He might still be a good witness for the prosecution.
Hello, Ben. I need a shot of rye, and I need it quick.
Well, how'd you talk your way out of jail?
I didn't have to. Eve Tabor did it for me.
Eve? What did he say?
Not too much. He had a knife in his belly and was fighting for his breath, but he said enough to clear me.
Well, then he's dead.
No. It was a miracle. They've got him over at Doc's office now. That knife would have killed any other man. But you know Eve. Strong as a bull.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Eve. Listen, you help yourself. I'll be right back.
Twice, did you, Ben?
What were you waiting for? Thought you'd never stop. You sent Philo to trick me. Eve's been dead all the time. Let's go.
Philo used to swear off once a month. Now he was tackling it a day at a time. Every day he made it saved him enough to bail out another law book. And it was beginning to look like the whole set might soon be back on his shelf. The McDonald and the Campbell families had been feuding for years. The annual race between their prize horses was an exciting time for the citizens of Denver, especially those who liked to gamble.
Here's 200 more on Billy Bob. Any takers? Tell George to bring him on when he's ready.
Oh, come on back here.
Watch him, Charlie! Watch him!
Listen, I'll see you get a fair start, Charlie, if it takes all day. Martin, get back here and walk them horses up head to head. No more shenanigans out of you. Now get on back here, head to head, and walk them up.
Don't let him get the bulge on you.
Get him out of there on the fly, boy. Come on now. Head to head, I said. Come on. Had you by that much.
Why, you blind old goat. Billy Bob won easy. Besides, your boy fell off the horse before he crossed the finish line.
He fell off after he crossed the finish line.
Before? I said before.
I don't know what I'm wasting my time arguing with an old fool like you for. Smith's the judge. Well, Smith, it looks like my horse sort of nosed him out, huh?
Oh, don't let him pull the wool over your eyes. Billy Bob won, and he knows it. Besides, his boy fell off before he crossed the finish line.
He did not.
No, he didn't. He was shot off. I declare this race no contest. Both of you meet me over at the police station. I'll give you your money back. Take care of him, boys.
Come on, boy.
That ain't the darnest horse race I ever had a hand in. Who you think won it, Smitty?
Nobody.
Well, just because Campbell's jockey accidentally got shot...
I don't think it was an accident.
Oh?
Pretty hard to prove, though. You nose around, see what you can find out. I'll catch up with you later.
All right.
I'll have your money for you in a minute.
You know, the last time we raced, Campbell's boy fouled us and made a cripple out of my son Grjngo for life. And still the judge gave the race to him.
We won that race, Flora, and we won this one, too.
You didn't win it, Campbell. Your horse beat you by a nose. But the boy's fall could have slowed down Steele Dust. Anyway, I don't think a race should be won that way.
Are you suggesting that I'm responsible?
I'm not suggesting anything. But it'd be a pretty bad precedent to establish that all you have to do to win a horse race is shoot the other man's jockey, wouldn't it?
I never ran a crooked race in my life, and I don't like you implying that me or my boys had a hand in that shooting.
I'm not implying anything. But I will want to ask your boys some questions. So you tell them to stick around the ranch for the next couple of days.
Oh, get out of my way. And if you know what's good for you, Smith, you'll stay off of my ranch.
The Campbell jockey was still alive. Had about a 50-50 chance, Doc said. This shooting had set the feud to boiling, and it looked like the Campbells and McDonalds might soon be after each other with guns instead of horses.
All right, take it easy, Prime. Any luck?
Maybe. I think I found where the shot came from. What are you doing here, Prime?
Your overeager associate here can better answer that question.
Now, just a minute, fella. This ain't a social gathering. We're investigating a shooting.
Look, that kid was probably shot accidentally. Half the town was out there celebrating.
Ah, but half the town didn't have all the money bet on that horse that you did.
Where were you standing when the boy fell, Prime?
He was standing by the saloon with this 6-gun smoking in his hand.
I was celebrating like everyone else.
Ah, but like I said, everyone else didn't have all that money bet on that horse.
I don't think you guys like me.
You sure he was standing in the street, George?
Well, I got 6 witnesses to prove it. They saw him there.
Then you better turn him loose.
All right, Prime.
Better luck next time.
Yeah, thanks.
What put the kibosh on me this time? I find me a suspect established as being right where the shot could come from, and you make me turn him loose.
That's what cleared him, George. That shot didn't come from the street. It was fired from up above.
I never thought of that. But he could have hired somebody to do it for him, huh?
Yes, he could have. Prime or any other high-rolling gambler in Denver could be guilty. Get your hat, George. Why don't you help me prove something? Hey, darling, you.
Well, tal, Señor Smith?
You watched the race yesterday?
Oh, sí, señor. It was, como se dice, very exciting, no?
It was very exciting, yes. Who was tending the business?
¿Qué negocio? Everybody is watching the races.
I see. You mind if I climb up in the loft and take a look around?
Como no?
Stand by, George. Bring him on, George. Get low!
What do you think, Smitty?
Exact angle. Fight, George.
Will ya? Hold it! Break it up! Can't you see he ain't carrying a gun?
Next time we meet, you better be packing again. Because whether you are or not, I'm going to kill you.
That's about enough out of you. Come on.
Well, what have I done? It was a fair fight.
I should lock you up, but I won't this time. I'm going to take you and let your dad decide what should happen to a hot-tempered kid like you. Come to town packing a gun, drinking, threatening to shoot people. Go.
Smith?
Your help so there wouldn't be a killing?
I had a fight with Ian McDowell.
What's so wrong about that?
He threatened to shoot him on sight the next time he sees him.
Yeah. Speaking of shooting, did you find out who shot my jockey?
Not yet.
Well, I think it was McDonald. Now, you expect me to tell my boys to turn tail and run every time they see one of them?
You do as you please, Campbell. If there's any more trouble, you're going to have more than the McDonalds to contend with. It was beginning to look like there was no way I could keep this feud from turning into open warfare. I decided to go back to town and get George. There were still some questions I wanted to ask Flora McDonald. In her mood, I didn't feel up to tackling her alone.
Run all night, gwine run all day. I bet my money on a bobtail nag, somebody bet on the bay. See them run that half-mile heat, doo-dah, doo-dah. Once round track and then repeat, oh, doo-dah day. I win my money on a bobtail nag, doo-dah, doo-dah. I keep my money in an old tote bag, oh, doo-dah day. Well, I'm gwine to run all night, gwine to run all day. Bet my money on a bobtail nag, somebody bet on the bay. Well, the Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, oh, doo-dah day. Well, I'm gwine to run all night, gwine to run all day. George!
I thought you liked that song.
I do, ordinarily. Right now, my enthusiasm for horse racing is just a little bit dim.
All right, then, how about this one?
Come along, boys, and I'll tell you a tale about my troubles on the Shizome Trail. Come.
Some other time, George. Right now, I want you to ride out to McDonald Ranch with me.
Oh, that old lady's going to be on the prod?
I'm afraid she will. You think you'll be able to smoke her out and hold her off long enough for me to nose around the place a little while?
Well, I can try.
Maybe she's cooled off a little bit by now. Turn the old charm on, George. First thing you know, you have her eating out of the palm of your hand.
Oh, yeah. All right. You
that charm out, you.
I ain't got enough trouble. Now, you get off of my place before I blast you in half.
Now, ma'am, I don't mean you no harm. I just want to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah. All right, then, but be quick about it.
Hello, Grjngo.
Oh, hi there, Smith. I didn't hear you come in.
Billy Bob pull up a little sore?
No, Billy Bob's fine. What's on your mind, Smith?
Just a routine check. Where were you during the race yesterday?
Well, I was with Billy Bob most of the time. He gets nervous without me.
I thought I saw you down at the finish line right after the race was over.
Well, that's right. I was there when they finished. After I legged up Charlie and gave him his last-minute instructions, I went out to see how it would come out.
How long did it take you to walk down there, would you say?
Oh, not more than 2-3 minutes. Of course, I don't get along too good no more.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You got hurt riding in a race, didn't you? In an accident?
Accident? That was no accident. Campbell's boy deliberately run my horse into the fence, broke his leg, had to shoot him. Left me like this.
It was a real tough break.
They claimed their boy couldn't hold their horse. The judge backed him. You can't get justice from the Campbells. Why, every single time we've had a run in the past, they've tried something crooked. But I tell you this, they ain't gonna steal a race from Billy Bob. There ain't a horse alive that can outrun him in a fair race.
And the next time we run him, we'll prove that once and for all. We won that last race, but you didn't have gumption enough to call it right. You got a lot of gall coming here after robbing us the way you did.
Mr. McDonald, doesn't it mean anything at all to you that a man was shot?
Well, fire and brimstone, man. We didn't shoot him.
Well, maybe you didn't, but...
And the next time that I race old Angus, you won't be judging.
It doesn't make any difference who's judging. If you race the Campbells again, there's bound to be trouble.
It's none of your dang business who I run my horse against. And I've had a belly full of you. Now, you either get out of here or go for your gun. Make it fast, mister.
We were just leaving anyway, weren't we, George? It could have been Grjngo, all right. We don't have a shred of evidence. You saw him at the starting line, and I saw him at the finish a few minutes later.
But did you see him during the race?
No, I didn't. It doesn't mean he wasn't there. I had my eyes glued on the horses. But the old lady will swear she saw him there before the boy fell. She doesn't remember it that close. She's honest enough. Just prejudiced.
Well, if it was Grjngo, what would his reason be? Revenge?
I don't think so, George. This wasn't the same jockey that rode against him the time he got hurt. Strange coincidence, though. Campbell's jockey whipped Billy Bob across the face just before he was shot. Grjngo had reason enough, all right, to beat the enemy.
Anyway, there was no love lost between those two families.
Oh, it's funny how time changes people. Angus and Flora used to be good friends a long time ago. Matter of fact, I hear he almost married her after his wife died.
Well, I didn't know that. Then what started all the feuding?
They started this business of matching races against each other. Started out as a little friendly get-together, but each race became more and more important. The only thing that mattered was who won. Both sides were too stubborn to admit they'd gotten outrun honestly. Always end up in a bitter quarrel. Oh, I think we about reached the end of the line, George. Race before this, a man was crippled. This time, a jockey was shot. They race again, someone's sure to get killed.
just the man I wanted to see, Angus Campbell. Word's gotten around that you're accusing the McDonalds of shooting your jockey. Is that true?
I'm not accusing anybody of anything. All I said, it seemed kind of funny that my man got shot just when he had your horse outrun.
Outrun? Why, that beetle of yours never saw the day that he could start Billy Bob.
When the rider was shot, Steel Dust was half a length in the lead.
That's because he stole the break from that stupid detective that was starting him. Billy Bob ran away from that dog of yours at the finish.
Maybe you'd like to try him again sometime.
Well, any time you say.
Let's put enough money on him next time to make it interesting. You're so doggone sure your horse can beat mine, you oughtn't to be afraid to gamble on it.
Name the amount and I'll cover it.
We say, 20,000?
Well, I'll need a little time.
Yeah. You know, Flora, I didn't think you had the stomach for a good bet.
You got a bet!
Uh-oh. I know the signs. They're matching another horse race.
Well, good. You meet me here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with the money. We'll discuss terms and conditions then, if you show up.
Oh, drat you, Angus Campbell, I'll be here.
Yeah, and ready for battle, too, I'll bet.
Well, Charlie, how did he go?
He's sharp. We could run him any time.
Oh, he sure could. Well, Billy Bob, you earned yourself a beta hay. Charlie, better get that tack off, cool him out real fast, huh?
Right.
Good boy.
You know I'm really worried about that race.
Now, look, Ma, I told you, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, but that's a lot more money than we ever put up before. I'd hate to back down now.
Now,
but...
look, Ma, even if you wanted to, you can't back down now.
Yes, but we haven't got $20,000, and Angus knows that. Why, we'd be wiped out if anything went wrong.
Now, look, you just get that out of your mind. Nothing's gonna go wrong.
Doesn't look like she's gonna show up, Dad.
Oh, that hard-headed old fool, she'll show up. She's probably having a hard time rounding up the money.
Hey, there she comes now.
Well, I thought you'd used your head and decided not to show up.
You know better than that.
You get the money?
Brought the deed to my ranch. Of course, my ranch is worth more than $20,000. But what matter? You haven't got a chance against Billy Bob.
You trying to welch out on me? The bet's off. The bet's off unless you put up all the livestock you got in your ranch.
Why, Billy Bob can outrun the best horse that ever lived. I'll throw in the cattle, so put your money where your mouth is.
All right. That's gonna break you. You're a fool, Flora McDonald.
You take that back. Drop that gun or you're a dead man.
Nice friendly little gathering, isn't it? An ideal way to match a horse race.
Now, you mind your own business, Smith. We know what we're doing.
I can see you do. Bragging about having the fastest horse in the world. You're just as bad about that horse of yours. Well, I could probably outrun both of you with either one of my work horses. How about Joe Queen over there?
Are you loco? Steel Dust's a racehorse. He's never been outrun.
Because he's never come up against Joe Queen.
Now, look, will you run away? I had me a race match with her. Would have wiped her out.
You mean made me $20,000?
All right. Go ahead and match the race. Let me run Joe Queen along with you. If I win the race, all bets are off. And you two will never match another horse race.
It seems like a pretty silly idea to me.
Silly, huh? What you mean is you're both afraid to run against me. Neither one of you will admit that Billy Bob and Steel Dust are just a couple of ordinary horses.
What's the difference? Let the fool in. He won't even see which way we went. And besides, we might get a fair start this time.
Well, make no difference to me. Is kills two birds with one stone. Puts him in his place and wipes you out, sure.
Then it's agreed. But remember my conditions if I win.
If you win, Smith, you haven't got the chance of a snowball in the 80s.
you, George.
Oh, looks good to me. Surprised that you entered him in this race, though, Smitty.
Maybe you don't know all of his history, George. Besides, it's the only way I could figure to keep those hotheads from killing each other. Ask Miguel to cool him out for me, will you?
Sure thing. Come on, Joe.
I hope I don't get you like Martin. Now, don't worry, Eddie. We're here to make sure no harm comes to you. Come on, let's go.
You did a good job on Billy Bob for this one.
If the race is honest, we'll win.
You think the Smith horse will cause us any trouble?
Now, don't you worry about him. Just keep your eyes on Steel Dust and the jockey of Campbell's.
Okay.
Good luck, Charlie.
Thank you.
There you go.
Looks like those darn fool Campbells and McDonald's are more anxious to start a fight than run a horse race.
Bet your bottom dollar there'll be fireworks if I don't win this one.
Hey, well, you got a good chance, ain't you?
Fair, I'd say, George.
Hey, Smitty, look.
Follow him, George. Forget about the race. Don't let him out of your sight.
Oh, but I want to watch the horses run, Smitty.
Not this one. We'll run one another day, just for your benefit.
Oh. Losing that race sure broke Glencoe's spirit, huh? He seemed glad to confess.
Yes, his life was all wrapped up in that horse. He just couldn't believe that Billy Bob could get outrun in a fair race.
That's why I didn't take a shot at you. Claimed he was just there to see the race was honest.
Sort of a self-appointed racing judge.
Yeah.
Handing out some real stiff penalties for crooked riding.
What gets me, though, is how'd you ever get Joe Queen to run so fast?
Didn't surprise me too much, George. He still holds the track record over in St. Louis.
Well, I'll be. That's a neat trick you pulled on those folks, then, Smitty. But how'd you ever fool old Flora and Angus? Any fool can plainly see that Joe Queen ought to fly.
They never really looked at him, George. They were too busy trying to outrun each other. That should hold him, Miguel. Gracias, amigo.
Por nada, señor Smith.
Gwine to run all night, Joe Queen will run all day. Flora and Angus and their bobtail nags, but we bet on the bay.
Denver's favorite recreation spot in the fall of 1867, the Silver Queen Saloon. Famous for its refreshments, good fellowship, and famous, too, as a spot where anyone in search of trouble could easily find it. The back stairway leading to the offices of the Silver Queen Saloon had been the idea of the owner, Eddie Royce. Made things very convenient sometimes.
All right, talk. I'm in for half. What? Third ain't enough. I want half. We already made our deal. Half, Eddie. Or should I go and see Smith?
You wouldn't have the nerve.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I don't like threats, Jerson. No deal.
It's your funeral.
Not my funeral, Jerson.
brief investigation of the murder scene. And then I went to headquarters to report to Chief Richards.
All I had to go on was the hunch, Chief. Didn't have enough evidence to make an arrest.
Think Royce had a hand in it?
Eddie Royce owned a half interest in the Silver Queen mine. Now that Jerson's dead, he owns all of it. That reminds me. I'd like to take a look around that mine. You think you can get me a warrant to get in?
I think so.
Just stop and think how many Silver Queens we have here in Denver. Like Royce's mine and his saloon.
And Jake Harris's widow, Baby Doll.
And Marilyn Manning. They call her the Silver Queen, too.
Who's she?
Chief, I'm surprised at you. Eddie Royce's girlfriend. The blonde hostess in his saloon.
Never noticed her.
Hope I never get that devoted to duty.
Where you going?
I've got a feeling that what I want to know, I'll find out from one of the Silver Queens. May as well start where the prettiest one works.
Now girls are sweet as pie, and men are like the fly. When sweetness meets their eye, they can't help buzzing by, by. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Somebody else I'd rather see. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Somebody else I'd rather see.
Hey, Oldie. Hey, Oldie. Come on, snap out of it, Swede.
What? Hello, Jim.
Is it true what I heard about her and you?
Well, what you hear?
Well, a fella told me that Marilyn told him you were the only man in town that she liked.
You hear that?
Fact, ain't it, Bill? I heard the fella tell the fella that told Jim right here. Oldie, if you don't beat all, you really think that she'd ever look at you?
Well, there it is, baby. What do you think?
Oh, Eddie, it's beautiful. When you said you had a surprise, I was sort of thinking it was an engagement ring.
Now, when it's time for a ring, I'll get you one like you never saw before. This is for nothing.
Of course, Eddie.
Here.
I've never really had anything so lovely.
Now, would you excuse me? I've got some work to do. You just keep dazzling the suckers.
Miss Manning.
Oh, hello.
I not want you to think I'm nosy, but, well, you shouldn't be like that with Mr. Royce.
Like what?
Well, you know, you let him kiss you, and he's always giving you presents.
Eddie and I are going to be married, aren't we?
You can't marry a murderer, Miss Manning. I think he's the man who killed Mr. Yerson. I heard them outside arguing in the alley. I not go to the police because, well, I know how you feel about Mr. Royce.
Ollie, you've got to stop interfering between Eddie and me. I won't have it. Now, I know how you feel about me, but I won't stand for you trying to break us up.
Yeah. All right, because you tell me.
That's good. I know you wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Ollie?
Yeah.
Now, you better get back to work before Scotty sees you.
Yeah.
Hi, Ollie.
Hello, Mr.
Mr. Smith.
Came back for another try, Ole. Your memory any better about what happened the night of the murder?
I see nothing.
Not even Mr. Jerson? Was he in here the night he was killed?
I tell you, I see nothing. I was busy with my work.
You're in love with Miss Manning, aren't you, Ole? Of course you are. She's in love with Eddie Royce. And that's why your memory's so bad. Because you don't want to do anything to hurt Miss Manning.
I will do nothing to hurt her.
That's exactly what you are doing, Ole. By covering up for Royce. You just remember this. If anything happens to her from now on, it's your fault. Not hers. Yours.
Wait. You are right. Yeah. Of course you are right. Mr. Yerson was in here the night he died.
Did you see him leave?
No, but I hear him.
You heard him?
Out and back in the alley, they was arguing.
Who with?
Mr. Royce.
Did you see Royce with him?
No.
But you recognized his voice?
No, but I did Mr. Yerson. The other man who was talking had a nasty voice, just like Mr. Royce.
Could you go before a jury under oath and swear that it was Mr. Royce?
No.
That's what I was afraid of.
Mr. Smith, about what you say before, I'm not very smart, but I'm not a fool either. I know I could never have Miss Manning, even if there was no Mr. Royce.
I don't know, Ole. You're not married yet. Women have been known to change their mind.
Hell, I hope you're right. I don't know much about women, but hell, I know lots about men. I know Mr. Royce killed Mr. Yerson, but I just can't prove it.
Looks like we're in the same boat, Ole. There's one thing you can do to help.
What's that, Mr. Smith?
You just keep your eyes open.
Well, you betcha.
Eddie, Tom Smith's out there.
Why the devil don't you knock?
Well, sorry, Eddie. What happened?
Made me spill acid on my hand. Now, what were you bellowing about?
Tom Smith's snooping around. He's asking questions.
He's coming up here. Well, let him. Get out of here, Jess. Come in.
I'd like to have a word with you, Royce.
Huh? What's on your mind?
I didn't know you went in for mineralogy.
I didn't, till I bought into the mine. What do you want, Smith?
What do you know about Jerson's murder?
I already told Captain Richards.
Then you won't mind telling me, will you?
Oh, he was in here that night. We had a talk. He always carried a lot of money with him. When he left, somebody must have followed him and tried to take his roll. And that's all I know.
That's all?
Well, I've got nothing to hide.
But a lot to gain.
Look, you're jumping the gun, Smith. Sure, he was my partner. Now the Silver Queen's all mine. But Jerson was the engineer. He located the vein and traced it out. Unless I can find a man as good as Jerson was to take over where he left off, I'm in trouble. His murder was the worst thing that could happen to me.
Well, that depends, doesn't it?
On what?
Whether or not there's really any silver in that mine.
All right, Smith. You tell me what kind of a confidence game I'm working. I'm not selling stock. I'm not taking in partners. The Silver Queen is mine, and I'm sitting on it. Tell me who I'm trying to take.
I don't know. Yet.
Well, is this fake? They never took better ore than this out of the Comstock.
I've seen the ore. It's high-grade stuff, all right. I often wonder where it came from. You don't mind if I ask a few questions downstairs, do you?
I do mind.
That's too bad. I asked my questions, and then I'd talk to Royce again before returning to headquarters. But a lot of good it did me. That's it, Jim. Thanks.
Hey, Smitty. Guess for hours this afternoon.
Down at the morgue. Watched them do an autopsy on Jerson's body.
Yeah, and I wanted to... Well, how'd you know that?
Saw your horse standing outside, so I figured you were either working on the case or dead, and here you are.
Yeah, well, now, get this. Jerson wasn't stabbed with no cowhand skinning knife.
That's right. It was a sword cane.
Well, how did you know that?
Dr. Sloan examined the body in the alley. He said the blade went clear through it. Take a pretty long skinning knife, wouldn't it?
Well, now, Smitty, if you had all that figured out, why didn't you tell me? You know them autopsies ain't exactly fun. I couldn't eat any of Edie's supper tonight.
Sorry, George. I guess I didn't figure it was very important.
Important? You know, all we gotta do now is find out if Royce owns a sword cane.
Oh, he owns one, all right.
Yeah? Hey, where'd you get it?
Royce's office.
You know you took it?
Yeah. In fact, he was almost too obliging. After all, he's not the only man in town who owns one of these.
Yeah, not to mention all the fancy gents traveling through town with him. What's that smell?
Acid. Probably the type that doesn't eat into metal, but washes off bloodstains. Pretty smart. No, George, I don't think the weapon's going to help us much in this case. We've got to find a motive.
A motive? We got a motive. The Silver Queen's worth a fortune.
Yeah, according to Eddie Royce. He says his assay's as rich as a Comstock.
So where do we go from here?
We're going out to the Silver Queen the first thing in the morning. For the geologist and search warrant. She finally came through.
See you here first thing.
George, on your way in, stop by the assay office and pick up the report on that Silver Queen ore, will you?
Sure. Right now, I'm going to take another whack at Edie's supper.
Good luck. Morning, George.
Morning, Smitty.
You get those figures from the assay office?
Sure did. We ought to take stock in that Silver Queen. That ore's as rich as Eddie Royce said it was.
Yeah. As rich as the Comstock.
Yeah.
Right down to the last decimal point.
Huh?
Come on, let's pick up that geologist. Could hardly wait to get a look at Eddie Royce's fabulous mine. But when we reached it, we found they'd just taken in the welcome mat.
Hey there. Get away from that gate. Ain't nobody allowed in here.
We got a warrant, boys.
I don't know nothing about that. Eddie Royce pays me to keep people out of here. Quit messing with that wire, mister.
With the law, boys. Just stand back and make it easy on yourself.
I told you to get.
That's enough, George. Man's asleep. It's all right, Mr. Groggies. We can go in now.
Yeah, it's all the same. Wrong formation. Everything wrong.
Well, if there's any silver in this mine at all, somebody dropped $50 in here and lost it.
And it's worthless.
Well, if I owned it, I'd pay you to take it off my hands.
Now that I knew the Silver Queen mine was absolutely worthless, I felt I had the answer to Jerson's murder. But the chief was far from impressed.
Well, it isn't against the law to own a worthless mine.
But murder is. Just as sure as I'm standing here, Royce either killed Jerson or had him killed.
All right. All right, you show me the proof, we'll bring him in.
I haven't got any.
Of course you don't. Not even Eddie Royce would murder a man to get hold of a worthless mine.
Even though that mine is worthless, it could still be very valuable to Royce.
Am I supposed to make some kind of sense out of that? What I'm looking for right now is a murderer, not a confidence man.
How about 2 for the price of 1?
Get out of here.
day, darling.
Ah, look at you. The prettiest girl in the West.
Oh, you're a liar, and I love you for it. Fix your drink?
Thanks. And it's everything your silver dollar was. May not be another Comstock, but...
But combined with a silver dollar, it'll throw a scare into Virginia City.
How you ever got that head for business and still stayed the woman you are, I'll never know.
When your husband leaves you $15 million worth of silver reserves, you either get a head for business or you lose the money. And I like money, Eddie. Oh, I love you. But if you didn't have the Silver Queen, I wouldn't have a thing to do with you. First things first.
Now, you don't really mean that.
Don't fool yourself. Now get out of here. We don't want anyone to guess.
That night, I went to see Ole at the saloon. Eddie Royce and Marilyn Manning were there. A perfect picture of romance and flower. They didn't see me as I walked to the bar.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Ole?
I keep my eyes open like you say.
Good. What did you see?
Mr. Royce, he went to see Mrs. Harris tonight.
Baby doll Harris?
He was inside a long time.
That's interesting.
Hello, Mr. Romack.
Hi, Ole.
When Mr. Royce left, he kissed Mrs. Harris. Why would he do that if he plans to marry Miss Manning?
What do you make of that, George?
Well, I don't know. Depends on the way he kissed her.
Just like he kissed Miss Manning.
That's bad.
I guess I better pay Miss Harris a little visit.
He's a real bad man. I just don't understand what they see in him.
Women see all kinds of things in a man, Ole. Now, you take Edie Romack, for example. She could have had a handsome, intelligent fellow. Look who she picked.
It's the charm that does it, Smitty. That old Romack charm.
Do you know a man by the name of Albert Grjngo?
The government mineralogist? Of course I do. Good man. What about him?
I took him out to Royce's Silver Queen mine today.
Oh?
He said it was a good place to grow mushrooms.
He said what?
There's no silver in the Silver Queen mine, Mrs. Harris.
That's impossible. I saw the ore myself. I read the assayer's report.
So did I. It was impressive. Too impressive.
What do you mean, too impressive?
Royce's ore assayed out as rich as the Comstock. Exactly as rich. I checked the government files. The silver content, the copper, lead, everything just exactly. Now, you're in the mining business. You tell me how often that happens.
It means just one thing.
That Royce's ore came from the Comstock.
Smith, I've been taken.
I'm a good listener.
You want to talk to me?
What man wouldn't?
Why don't you leave him alone?
Who?
Eddie. That's who you came to talk about, isn't it?
Not at all. Let's talk about baby doll Harris.
Why?
Didn't you know? She's getting married.
Oh, that's nice. Who's the new millionaire?
Eddie Royce.
You're a liar. Eddie loves me.
Look, Miss Manning, you may be one of the most beautiful women in Denver. But baby doll Harris isn't exactly bad looking either. And all that money she's got makes her look better. All that money.
Closing up, folks.
I just thought you'd like to know.
You coming, Miss Manning?
No. No, you go ahead and lock up. Ole can let me out.
Good night, boys.
Unless I miss my guest, George, there'll be a little excitement around here very shortly.
Good.
Say, why don't you...
I know. Watch the back.
tell you, Hank and Bernie are both gone. The mine's wide open.
Well, where are they?
I don't know, Eddie.
If anybody got in there... My connections with Mrs. Harris are strictly business.
I know all about that kind of business.
I don't have time to talk now.
Right now. Are you going to marry her?
There's no sense of pussyfooting, Eddie. Somebody got into that mine. You're going to have to move fast.
Shut up. Go on, get out of here.
Oh, it's true. You can't do it, Eddie. You can't do it, Eddie. Get your hands off me.
Shut up. I'd kill you for that. What do we do with them?
Get rid of them.
Eddie, why?
You stay out of this. Go on, bring the buckboard around to the back steps. Go on, get going.
No!
Hold her right there.
What's going to happen to me?
I promise everything will be all right. Ollie will take care of you. Ollie will always take care of you.
What had happened to Marilyn Manning made no difference at all to Ollie Brenderson. He'd be with her from now on. And you could bet he'd never leave his beautiful Silver Queen.